What's up guys, it's 6Man Sports, and in today's video I'm going to be previewing the AL East for the upcoming 2022 MLB season, and this will be a 6-part series where I preview every single division for the 2022 MLB season. So make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss out on all 6 parts, and let's get into it. So today we're going to be talking about the Tampa Bay Rays, and let me go over their offseason real quick. So they lost Nelson Cruz, who was a free agent, and he signed with the Nationals. They signed Corey Kluber, who went down with an injury last season halfway with the Yankees. He also threw a no-hitter, but now he's with the Rays. They signed Brooks Raley, who's one of the best bullpen options. He used to be on the Astros. And they signed Wander Franco, the franchise player, to an 11-year extension. That's it for the offseason. Let's talk about the lineup. So leading off, you've got Brandon Lowe, who's one of the top second basemen in the game. He also has some defensive versatility as he can play some outfield. I really like Brandon Lowe, and he's a great leadoff hitter. Then in the second spot in the lineup, we have Wander Franco, who, like I said, is going to be great. The Rays just want to see a full season from him. He was great in the half season he played last year, but a full season from Wander Franco and displaying his greatness and talent would be amazing for the Rays. Then we have Austin Meadows at the DH spot. He's not the best fielder compared to the other guys they have, so they have him at DH to show off his power bat. And then in the cleanup spot, you've got postseason here of the 2020 season. He had a pretty good 2021 season. Randy Arozerena, who's going to be hitting more bombs, stealing more bases, just running extra. He's a great guy. I like Randy Arozerena. I expect him to take another good leap in 2022. And then fifth in the order, you have Ji-Man Choi, who has been not the best, but he's what the Rays need. He'll hit power and he'll hit for bombs, and he has a decent glove at first base. Then you got Yandy Diaz at the 6th spot, who's going to be playing third base. And Yandy Diaz, he's a guy who's going to hit when you need him to, and he'll have games like he had a wild card game against the Athletics, I'm not mistaken, a couple years ago, where he hit 2 home runs. So I mean, Yandy Diaz, that's a guy you should be afraid of at any time, because he can just show his threat and his power at any time, and he's a good hitter. So the Rays like what they have at Yandy Diaz in the 6th spot. Then you got Mike Zunino, who was an all-star last year, and he hits a bunch of bombs. I mean, Mike Zunino is one of the top offensive catchers in baseball, and he doesn't have the best batting average, but he just hits bombs. And a team like the Rays, who doesn't have the best power hitters, a guy like Mike Zunino really helps at the bottom of the order, especially when he can hit a bunch of doubles and home runs. Then you got the last 2 guys who are more fielders and not as good of hitters. You got Manuel Margot and Kevin Kiermaier. I mean, they're serious. I mean, they're great fielders, and they're really good for this Rays team, and they can steal but also a bunch of bases when they get on base, when they draw walks. And this Rays team, they're like very gritty. That's just what the Rays do. They did trade away Joey Wendell, but the Rays are very gritty. They'll do whatever they can to get on the base paths, whatever they can to score and manufacture runs, whether that's stealing bases or whatever. They'll find a way to score runs, this Rays team, no matter how bad the offense looks on paper. So don't think this offense isn't good. This Rays offense is much better than people believe, even though the lineup itself on paper doesn't look that good. On the bench, we have Francisco Mejia, who's a good backup catcher. Taylor Walls, who's an infielder who got called up last year, who is one of their top prospects. Harold Ramirez, who they acquired in a trade with the Cubs a couple weeks ago. Brett Phillips, I mean, he's the hero of the 2020 postseason game against the Dodgers, and he's a really funny personality. I like Brett Phillips. And then Vidal Brujan and Josh Lowe, who Vidal Brujan's a second baseman and Josh Lowe is an outfielder, and they are both top prospects in the system. They got their major league debuts in 2021, so they might make some more appearances in 2022. So let's talk about the rotation. So the rotation is actually going through some injuries as of right now. Tyler Glasnow will be out for most, or if not all, of 2022. I mean, he's recovering from a big injury that also forced him to miss a chunk of the 2021 season. Shane Baz, who's one of their most electrifying pitchers, he's a top prospect for them a couple years ago. He's going to miss the start of the 2022 season. Shane McClanahan, he's not injured, but he, as of right now, is the #1 starter because of his injuries. Then you got Drew Rasmussen, who was traded from the Brewers last year. He's good in both relief and starting appearances, so I think they're going to use him as a starter this year. Corey Kluber, who they signed, who's on the Yankees, and I mentioned he threw a no-hitter last year. He's going to bring some veteran leadership and mentorship to this Rays rotation. And then Ryan Yarbrough and Luis Patino, and Luis Patino is acquired in that Blake Snell trade. The bullpen is facing some injuries as well. Nick Anderson is out until at least like the All-Star game, and Pete Fairbanks is expected to miss a couple months, so they're both injured. As of right now, you got Andrew Kittredge, JT Chargois, JP Fireheisen, that's a really fun name to say by the way, Matt Whistler, Brooks Raley, Josh Fleming, and a couple of other guys. I mean, it's the Rays, you know, they're pitching, they'll find some really good prospects and guys they'll trade for, and they'll just turn them into really good pitchers. So it's the Rays. I'm not really worried about their pitching, although it's going to be a bit short staffed for the first couple months of the season in terms of their big, like, known names. This Rays team is still a really good team and will contend in the AL East, and I think they can definitely go far in the playoffs. But the Red Sox and the Jays have made more moves than them over the offseason, and while the lineup looks average, they'll still be very good. I think eventually the bullpen won't go right, or the rotation, or the lineup. Something's going to have to fill because there's a lot of injuries and there's not as good talent as other teams. But if anything, the Rays can make talent and they can make players who aren't as good into much better players. So I'm not doubting on the Rays, but I think they're going to be a close third, and don't expect if they get that second place in the AL East for sure. Thank you guys for watching this video. Please subscribe and like, and tell me in the comment section down below which team or division you want me to preview next, and hope you guys have a great day. Bye and thank you.